Are you familiar with Voyager's emergency medical hologram? He's quite unique, even for an old EMH Mark I. Now he holds rank in Starfleet in his own right. We've received a message that the Doctor requires assistance to deal with a medical situation on an Ocampa freighter in the Shandur system. He's currently en route in one of Voyager's shuttles. Normally I'd send a medical vessel, but we've seen a spike in Vaadwaur attacks, and I want to make sure he has all the resources he'll need. Could you go to the Shandur system and assist the Doctor?
The EMH of the USS Voyager is unique among Starfleet's holographic technology, in that it had its memory and capacity expanded, coupled with extended use, allowing for the program to develop a personality and interests all of its own. Normally, this sort of rampant growth would be regulated by Federation laws, ever since an incident in 2365 created a sentient hologram of James Moriarty, but the Voyager was in extenuating circumstances. However, issues arose when the Voyager returns to the Alpha Quadrant. In 2382, while the USS Voyager was being stripped of all its future tech and upgrades to be analysed by Starfleet R&D, Admiral Owen Paris includes the mobile emitter among Voyager's assets. The Doctor actually takes legal action to argue that he needs the mobile emitter, and issues grow murky as the rights of artificial lifeforms begin to become involved, as it has with Lieutenant Commander Data years prior. This drags out the case for many years more, as now we're talking radical amendments to the Federation qualifications of sentience, ownership, and others. We arrive at the Shandur system to assist the Ocampan freighter, and the Doctor is nearby in a Type 8 shuttle, but the Ocampa are not answering our hails. By 2389, the Doctor is being described as a photonic lifeform by his defence, led by Alyssa Cogley-Shaw. The issue is becoming even more pressing as hologram technology develops and more Starfleet vessels start utilising holographic crew to supplement their ranks, including security and menial labourers. In 2394, the Federation rules that the Doctor is his own being, and therefore the mobile emitter is his own property. The Federation goes on to set even more exacting definitions on the lines between a sentient program and one that isn't. The next year, the Doctor is offered and accepts the rank of Lieutenant Commander and Chief Medical Officer of Gaylor 4. The Doctor also agrees to allow a contingent of Starfleet engineers to travel with him to continue their study of the emitter. By 2404, the Soong Foundation forces an injunction to ask Starfleet to reveal the full breadth of its holographic usage. Starfleet appeals the injunction, saying that it's a violation of privacy, as it includes recreational programs and off-duty activities, as well as working holograms. The case eventually elevates to the Federation's Supreme Court. In 2407, the Federation hits a breakthrough with power cell technology creating personalised shielding, and the Soong Foundation also uses this battery as a power source for new mobile emitters. Still not as advanced as the EMH Doctors, but a big step nonetheless.
Pleased to meet you. I scanned your service record before your arrival. You've been in quite a few battles, haven't you? Ever stop to think about the strain you're putting on your medical crew before you charge into combat? Of course you don't. No captain ever does.
That's what staff meetings are for. I mean, it's nice to meet such a renowned physician such as yourself, Doctor... Doctor?
We've been hailing this Ocampan freighter for some time, but we're not getting a response, and our sensors cannot penetrate their shields. Their initial distress signals indicated that they were suffering from Paranesti measles. I can treat it easily, if I can get onto the ship. Now that your ship is here, it should be trivial to board the vessel and assess the situation. Transport me aboard your vessel, and then my shuttle can return to Voyager.
It may seem a little odd that he couldn't beam over by himself, but I guess there's a reason for it.
Excellent. Your ship has more powerful sensors than my shuttle.
The Type 8 heads back to Voyager, and I imagine he probably had a pilot with him. I'm also guessing that there's no hangar to dock on that freighter, which is odd. Why is it still not responding to hails? Let's take a peek inside, shall we?
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Okay, whatever that is, the ship don't like it. Constriction anchor. Well, it seems to be some form of tractor beam technology. Our first priority is to get loose as 3 small Vaadwaur assault vessels accompany the anchor, presumably dropping out from the underspace. Now free, we turn to face the opposition, and the Vaadwaur have proven themselves against the Voth, but we've taken down one of their ships before. We've just got to do that again. 3 times. nimble craft can deploy new anchors every so often, which can be shot down, preferably with some expediency. They'll often follow up on this attack with an array of timed light cannon barrages, which deploy spatial charges around a vessel that arm after a few seconds and explode with lethal force. These are quite capable of destroying a vessel that gets caught by them. A couple can strip shielding, more hits will prove final.
Hold your fire. I am Gaul, leader of the Vaadwaur.
They had us on the back foot. Now they want to talk? That's just as well, I'm not complaining. I don't think we could have lasted much longer. Well, I'll take it. This is a chance to talk, maybe end hostilities between our people, or maybe just to learn what the hell it is they're after. So, the Vaadwaur have been sweeping aside all opposition, so why stop with the Federation? Could be that the Krenim didn't give them much choice but the Turay? Then again, they are ancient enemies using their same subspace corridors. Maybe we have a chance here. Let's see what they want.
Greetings. I am Gaul, leader of the Vaadwaur supremacy. I apologize for the overzealousness of my soldiers. This action was not authorized.
I'm Captain Hale of the USS Armiger. What do you mean this was unsanctioned? Starfleet isn't your target?
I'm pleased to finally meet you. It appears your presence here in the Delta Quadrant has inadvertently caused some conflict between us. I would rather avoid any more unpleasantness. Would you be willing to meet with me face to face?
Then we agree on something. I suggest talking in a more neutral location.
That is understandable. Do you have a location in mind? There are not many areas of the Delta Quadrant where my people are not reviled.
I'll get back to you. Close the channel. Maybe they're so reviled because they keep attacking people, but whatever. How are the Talaxians?
Oh, what a wonderful surprise! Is there anything I can do for you?
Neelix, hello again. We need to set up neutral ground for a meeting with the Vaadwaur. Could you offer any assistance in that regard?
Diplomatic negotiations. I am Starfleet's ambassador to the Delta Quadrant. I would be more than happy to offer my services as mediator. As for the location, Dexa and most of our people are on New Talax now, but we still have the asteroid base in the Intaba system. It's mostly empty now, just a few cleanup crews, and the Kazon have been leaving it alone. It would be perfect.
I still can't find any official sanction of his role as ambassador, but whatever. We could refuse his aid, but I think as one of our only ties in the Delta Quadrant, we'd be fools to do so. So thank you, Ambassador Neelix. We'll be on our way to the former Talaxian outpost. Hail, Gaul.
Well, did you find a suitable location for our meeting?
Yes, a former Talaxian asteroid base in the Intaba system. It's not that far from here.
Talaxians? Are there still Talaxian communities? How odd. The site is agreeable. Send my ship the coordinates and I will meet you there.
Coordinates sent. I hope to see you there.
I'm contacting the closest network. They can investigate this further while we meet with Gaul.
Good idea, Commander. The Vaadwaur threat seems to be dealt with for now. We linger just long enough for the USS Blackwell to arrive to aid the accompanying freighter before we set a course for the Intaba system.
Imagine using a medical emergency as a trap. The Vaadwaur have no shame. I don't trust Gaul. He betrayed us on Vaadwaur Prime, he'll do it again.
Gaul was one of the original Vaadwaur awakened by Voyager in 2376, and as the highest ranked officer left, assumed command of their military wing. Since then it seems he's been trying to locate and rally surviving Vaadwaur, likely from other suspended animation chambers.
It's good to see you again so soon. If I might make a suggestion, I would recommend only bringing 2 crew members with your away team. Gaul brought 4 aides. You'll have the doctor and myself, and bringing more of your crew down might look like you're trying to get an advantage on him. Gaul seems very touchy. Proper protocol will be important. Are you ready to beam down?
That's sound advice, Neelix. Thank you.
It's so good to see. Doctor, it's been 30 years. You haven't aged a day.
Yes, it's good to see you too, Neelix.
We have a bit of time before we'll begin. We're giving the Vaadwaur a fine Talaxian feast to help ease the tension. Doctor, you must tell me all you've been up to.
Oh, Neelix, I couldn't. Not with the Vaadwaur here.
Unfortunately,
But I suppose it is important that you hear about my many achievements since our last meeting. And my brilliant research was able to prove conclusively. Thus, I began my grand adventure into the challenge of writing Klingon opera.
Oh, well, Brax and I agreed to never mention the incident again. Well, at least not to Dexa.
Neelix, the Vaadwaur have finished the appetizers and are waiting for you.
Oh, well, we had better get going. We can talk more later.
No. More talk. Vaadwaur. We need to talk to the Vaadwaur.
Do you remember Chef Jolax from the last time you were here?
Spicy.
He's the one that has been serving the Vaadwaur their fabulous appetizers. Full bellies make for good conversation, I always say. He told me that Gaul is a little grumpy, but I'm sure you can handle him. Gaul is in the command room now, waiting for us. Jolax should be back soon to take everyone's orders for the main course.
Well, that's actually a good idea. We are running a little late, so ingratiating the guests with food should go down well. It's been a while since we were last here helping the Talaxian convoy get underway. Much of this space had been crammed with supplies and people waiting to board their vessels. Now it's only scraps left as they settle on new Talax. It's also good to see that the local Kazon haven't returned either, likely due to our actions alongside the Bentham Guard not too long ago. We emerge into the operations room to meet with the Vaadwaur. Gaul stands with his soldiers awaiting our arrival, and I've got to say, I dig their trenchcoat look. The earthy tones and rugged design, complete with functional helmets, make it clear that this is an army. Suddenly, I'm a little more conscious of our own crisp officers' uniforms. We've seen combat, to be sure, but these people advertise it. They're proud of their ability to war. Alright, grumpy, prideful, combative, but they requested the talks, so let's go with practical negotiation.
Ah, at last. I must say your Talaxian friends are quite hospitable. But down to business. Our meeting is long overdue.
Yes, there have been several avoidable incidents between our people. Hopefully we can avoid further loss of life and time with these talks here today.
As do I. My people are damaged, in crisis. We are already at war with the Cabali, and with you, giving your alliances support for them.
The Federation is here to establish alliances, so let's try to find an accord that could benefit us both.
Do you know why we fight the Cabali? Their world was once a Vaadwaur colony, one of our largest. And there is still a large cache of stasis tubes on the planet. Those are my brothers and sisters being held hostage. The Cabali are stealing them, taking their very identities and transforming them.
Well, this is news to me. I was aware the Alliance was trying to make efforts to reach out to the Cabali. Have you got proof?
The Cabali would rather watch us die and use our corpses as fuel for their unnatural corruption. Is it wrong to fight against your own extinction? Don't we have a right to survive as well?
The Cabali are a species who reproduce by transforming the recently deceased into new Cabali. It's a bit grim, but we all need to be working together. There are bigger threats coming, ones that even the Vaadwaur couldn't survive alone.
There can be no peace. Not after what they've done. Are you suggesting we are weak? That we should just lay down and die for them? No, we will not.
Not what I'm suggesting. I'm saying that destroying the Cabali will only serve to weaken us all down the line. We have proof of a coming storm, Gaul. So, As mighty as the Vaadwaur have become, why waste resources engaging multiple
Do not
opponents?
try to pacify me. We will have our retribution. You have my offer. Abandon your alliance with the Kobali and support us, and we will be your strongest ally in the Quadrant.
Oh, how did Titan manage this with the Klingons of the Federation? I'm not going to start a war with the Kobali.
Peace. You know nothing of what it means to be Vaadwaur. You need to understand.
That's a little cryptic, Gaul. What do you mean?
The Vaadwaur have endured too much to make peace. Do you expect us to forget the destruction of our cities? The massacres of our people?
The food's almost ready. What would you all like for your main course?
Now really isn't a good time.
You need to understand even the smallest fraction of our anger.
He's dead. I'm sorry.
Does that make you angry, Talaxian?
No, it makes me sad. For Jolex. And for you.
Then we are not done.
They beamed out. We contact the Armiger and explain the situation, only to hear that the Vaadwaur vessels have started attacking the Talaxian transports. The Armigers moved in to defend, but it can't be everywhere at once, and the fleeing Talaxians are being hounded. Commander Tarsi has already sent out a distress call, and we're given the option to scan for life signs on the asteroid or request tactical support. Searching for life signs, Tarsi relays that the Armiger has detected 2 clusters of Talaxians that have locked themselves in storage rooms and the logistics bay, but both are under assault by the Vaadwaur.
Time only to save one group? I do not envy your choice. I would go with you, but I cannot leave Neelix alone, and time is of the essence. I'm afraid you'll have to go on without us.
No, I'm going. I can't sit by and let the Vaadwaur kill my friends. I won't be a burden. I promise. I have to do this.
Okay, then stay close. We're going to have to move quickly to save your friends. Stepping out of the turbolift, we're faced immediately with Vaadwaur soldiers who are waiting for us. We're in a narrow passage and at a disadvantage, so the first thing we need to do is break out of it. Warning, tactic not advised for real life. We're able to beam in security from the Armiger and get the flank on these soldiers, putting them down, but across the bay, they're not alone. There is little cover in this room, so mobility is your friend here. The Vaadwaur are able to cover each other quite well, but we have a holographic doctor who does not engage in combat, but will do his best to keep you and your team alive, administering aid on the fly.
How do we choose who to save?
Easily, fast, or we lose them both. We open the door to the cargo bay and charge down the corridor to meet the Vaadwaur, who have just managed to unlock the bay to the Talaxians. We open fire on them immediately to try to save the civilians and successfully draw their attention. The small team is quickly dispatched.
We've saved the hostages, but they may be safer here.
As recommended, we instruct the Talaxians to remain in the cargo bay.
What about the people in logistics?
We backtrack to the main bay and make a hard right to logistics to try to save the other group, but by the time we get there, the Vaadwaur have killed them all. We put down the enemy soldiers so we can reach the bodies to see if there's anything the Doctor could do.
Doctor, you have to save them. These are my friends.
They are beyond my help now, Neelix. I'm sorry.
Then we can still save the others. We have to get to the shuttle in the cargo bay.
It doesn't matter which option you take here, you cannot save them all. On reaching the shuttle bay, we find it swarming with Vaadwaur. They seem to have wrecked a couple of the Talaxians' craft trying to prevent their escape. I can see one on the far side of the bay, I think, mostly unharmed. As the station rocks from the battle outside, I can only imagine the beating my ship is taking out there. As we deal with more Vaadwaur, in the process of trying to sabotage another vessel, the Doctor busies himself with something.
I've sent a signal to the remaining Talaxians to join us here as soon as possible. More Vaadwaur on the way! Defend the shuttle!
Talaxians scream past us, coming out of hiding from around the station and making a run for the only remaining shuttle. The Vaadwaur, however, are pursuing them.
More on the way. If I weren't a hologram, I'd be worried.
Yeah, well, the Federation says you're alive, which also means that you can technically die, so be worried.
A large number of Vaadwaur are closing in. I'm afraid they may be too much for you to handle.
Well, Tamet is down and I'm a little worse for wear, but we need to keep them off the Talaxians so that they can repair the shuttle.
The Teray are here to assist. After this, our debt to you is repaid.
The Teray? They must have answered the distress signal.
That's timely. Here come the Vaadwaur.
With the Teray reinforcements, we now stand a chance. The final wave of Vaadwaur is a large one, but now they make little progress in breaking our lines.
The Vaadwaur have been repelled. I would have words with you before you continue.
Yeah, that seems fair. Thank you for the assist.
Our help does not mean we are now allies. We are repaying a debt. Our ships are currently engaging the Vaadwaur fleet. It is unsafe for this shuttle to launch until they are defeated. We will return to our ships. I suggest you do the same. We will provide cover for your ship so it may drop shields to transport you.
As a gesture of goodwill, we can even help the injured Teray return to their vessel and patch up the wounded before returning ourselves.
I knew this meeting was a farce. The word Vaadwaur means fool in ancient Talaxian. Did you know that? You thought me a fool who would swallow your insults without comment. A fool who would blunder into the trap you set with the Teray. I am not.
Oh. Yeah, that is kind of what this looks like, isn't it? The Teray answered our distress call, you must have heard it, but I get the feeling that that is not what you're going to tell your men. We had a chance to talk here, you ruined it, not me.
This has destroyed any chance of an accord between us. How disappointing. I had thought you would be a valuable ally. Now you are just another victim.
In one day, you've ambushed using medical crises as cover, attacked under a flag of truce and murdered civilians. You're not a soldier or a warrior, just a murderer. Shutting the channel, we move to join the Teray against their 700-year-old foe. The battle rather quickly breaks up into smaller skirmishes across the area. I'm quite content to let the Teray deal with their own problems while we engage solitary Vaadwaur vessels, as taking on too many at once can easily overwhelm us, as seen before. It seems that despite the Teray's previous near defeat at the hands of the Vaadwaur, when in a space battle, they are reasonably well matched. The power comparisons in this game do get a bit tenuous, so I'm going to assume that we have the numbers on our side, as the Vaadwaur were not expecting reinforcements. Skirmish is a long one, but halfway through we receive a comm from Admiral Tuvok.
Voyager is here. We will not allow the Vaadwaur to escape.
Despite the Admiral's plans, it seems that Gorl's ship was not among those we defeated. He must have slipped away during the firefight. When the final ship falls, we receive a hail from the Teray.
You came to our aid when the Vaadwaur attacked our homeworld. Now we have come to assist you. This discharges our obligation.
Returning a favour with a favour, eh? Well, I'll take that. That's a solid foundation for a possible alliance someday. Thank you for your assistance.
How could they do something so horrible? We're no threat to them. We'd done nothing but welcome them. And he killed my friends just to make a statement. I don't understand how anyone would be so callous.
Because Gaul really only sees things in black and white. Also, if this weren't an inappropriate time, I'd make a Destiny 2 joke. Terribly sorry. Neelix, I'd say we'd avenge them, but I don't think you're the avenging sort of guy. Nonetheless, we will avenge them.
I don't blame you. I agreed to let the Vaadwaur come here. I put my people in danger. This is my responsibility. I just never conceived that even the Vaadwaur could be so treacherous. They double-crossed us on Voyager and tried to take the ship, but slaughtering innocent people. My time on Voyager changed me. I saw the best that people could be. I forgot, or wanted to forget, how evil they could be.
Ah, as much as a happy Neelix can be irritating, depressed Neelix is worse. We will get him. We will get Gaul.
With your permission, I'll lead the survivors back to New Talax. Then we can return with a security force to collect the dead.
Yeah, of course. And if you need anything, don't hesitate.
I've been in contact with the USS Blackwell. They boarded the freighter in the Shandur system, but it was empty. It was all a ruse by the Vaadwaur to lure us into that system. Everything was part of this play Gaul wanted to perform, from the initial distress call to his intervention and offer to negotiate. And then he used a massacre to set his stage. That's the kind of man he is, and unless he's stopped, the entire quadrant may fall.
The bloody despot set this up for our benefit to, what, teach us a lesson? Oh, he thinks he's the hero.
Gaul has shown his true nature. I expected he was not dealing in good faith. But nevertheless, we had to make an attempt to find a peaceful solution to our problems with the Vaadwaur. Now the war will continue. I grieve for all who have been lost, and for those who will fall before this conflict ends.
I wonder if he tried the same tactic with the Krenim.
Senseless, meaningless death. I'll never understand. I hope Neelix and his people will be able to find some peace, and that Gaul will answer for his crimes. And I hope our paths cross again, perhaps under better circumstances next time. With your permission, I'll return to Voyager.
Of course, Doctor, and it was good to meet you, though I wish the circumstances had been a bit better. As the USS Voyager departs the ruined base, I'm left to wonder if things could have played out differently. We hand in our report to Burgess, who is equally as aghast at the idea that the tyrant was trying to teach us a lesson. He believes that, as the whole situation was a setup from the start, there was never a real chance for peace. Gaul knew we would attempt to placate all sides, and would have argued any point that escalated conflict. If it wasn't one thing, then it would have been another. Peace cannot be truly achieved if one side does not desire it, at least on some level. His only objective seems to be to restore the Vaadwaur through conquest, and Burgess points out that, although Gaul may not be amenable, it doesn't mean there isn't another way in. Starfleet intelligence will keep looking. Still a harsh day indeed. Gaul has proven that he lacks any compassion and will go to any lengths, use any tactic, war crime or not, to land a blow on his enemy. No wonder his people are so reviled in history, and the past 30 years of being awakened has done little to curb their broken views. I believe that, as the Klingons would say, Gaul is a man with no honour. He needs to be stopped one way or another, and I hope you'll be there to see that happen. Thanks again for watching the continuing adventures of the USS Armiger on its mission throughout the Delta Quadrant as we try to form alliances for the future. And I'll see you again later in the ever-expanding narrative of Star Trek Online. Thanks again for watching, and goodbye.